Hi everyone, I'm Thomas and this is my vlog. I know this video is kind of late considering, but I just really wanted to talk about the experience that my wife Katie and I had at the Wizard World Comic-Con in Las Vegas. We did take video, but I don't feel like we took enough video, so that's why I'm recording this, to try to fill in the gaps a little bit. The whole thing was a surprise for her, as we were going to Las Vegas anyway, for her to take a test that she needed to take, and the Comic-Con happened to take place the same week, and I got her to book us a week long, a week's worth of rooms, and surprised her with a visit to Comic-Con for all 3 days. When we first got there and got our wristband passes, one of the things they gave us was the Wizard World Comic-Con Las Vegas exclusive Walking Dead #1 comic. I'm not really into comics, so I'm not exactly sure what's so exclusive about it. I'm assuming it's just the label, the cover art, because obviously this comic's been around for a while, and I'm not really a fan of the cover art itself. I kind of feel it's a little bland. It's really minimalistic, but to an extent that I don't find appealing. But the inside art is much better. Very nicely detailed and stylized for the effect that they're going for. So yeah. Overall, on the first day, there really wasn't that much to do, but we didn't really mind because we really utilized it to get a layout of what the convention center was, just to figure out, where the vendors were, where the panels were going to be held at, and whatnot, because it is a pretty sizable building, and there's many rooms and hallways to go through, and the last thing you want to do is be in a rush to get to a panel and then not get a seat that you want. But while we were getting a layout of the con, that's when we ran into our first celebrities.
So we just met Andre from Black Nerd Comedy. That was really cool.
He's my boyfriend, and now he knows.
All because he
the pineapple on my pizza. I
pineapple.
enjoy pineapple on my pizza.
and and we met Jason David Frank, Power Rangers, and I got him to sign the Karate Club video. Hopefully it's the right way. It's always backwards on these cameras.
Here, I'll do it always, just to be sure. There we go.
But yeah, that was really worth it. It was kind of unexpected. We were just walking, and
I was rolling.
and I all of a sudden I see him, and I was like, oh, and she
And
didn't.
I can't see anything because I'm in the wheelchair, so my perspective is like down here. And so I'm like, what? Oh, is he over there? Is that him? Oh my god! And I was like, you want to do this now? And he was like, yeah. And then we did. And then while he was signing it, I was like, hey Jason, I was wondering if it's okay if I could get a hug. And he was like, absolutely. And I was like, because I've been waiting 20 years. And it was awesome. And I held everything together. And we walked away, and then I cried like a baby for like 5 minutes. It was total fangirl, embarrassing. And everybody kept looking at me like, aw, she cried. I want to cover that. So, I forgot to say that when we met Andre, that he was awesome and totally wonderful and nice, just like he is in his videos, and he gave me 2 hugs. And he smelled really nice.
And the second one was of his own volition too.
Yeah. And he smelled really good. Like sexy. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, like I said, the first date was pretty uneventful, but later that night we did go to the Evil Dead the Musical 4D experience at the V Theater, which is in Planet Hollywood. We've actually gone to this show a lot of times. We absolutely adore the show. If you are a fan of Evil Dead and you can go to Las Vegas, go see the show, especially in the Splatter Zone. Get Splatter Zone tickets. It is totally worth it. It's really fun. When they say Splatter Zone, they really mean it. You are going to get drenched in that show with blood. But I mean, seriously, it's a really fantastic, fun show. Any fan of Evil Dead is really going to enjoy it. But we were actually invited to go for free this time because we had pre-ordered the album, their live recording of the performance. And to our surprise, it was actually already autographed, which was nice. I figured we would just go try to find them and have them autograph it, but yeah, we pre-ordered this months and months ago, and they were finally finished for regular sale, and for people who like us who had pre-ordered it to get it for free. They said, hey, come on down, watch the show for free, and get your album that you pre-ordered. And I mean, it seriously is an awesome show. This was actually the first time we ever went that we weren't in Splatter Zone, because we didn't have the money to upgrade to the Splatter Zone. But every other time we've ever gone, it always has been Splatter Zone, and it's worth it. These people clearly know Evil Dead and they love it, and it's just a great experience. It's one of the best shows in Vegas, honest to God. Now the second day was a little bit more crazier, because there was 2 panels that we really wanted to catch that were supposed to be a little bit earlier in the day. There were a couple celebrities that ended up pulling out of coming to Comic-Con, so there was a few panel changes of different times and whatnot. And the first one was of Arthur Darvill, who you may know as Rory from Doctor Who. He was supposed to go on an hour before, and then it moved to an hour later. And so we were like, okay, let's just get there as soon as we can. Because for whatever reason, we thought that the con was going to open up that day at 8 a.m. And so we actually got up at like 6 a.m. to get there as soon as we could, because we wanted to get front. Because we figured the panel would be pretty huge for both the panels we wanted to go to. And they weren't going to do any sort of sweeping in between panels. If you were in there for one panel and there was going to be another panel in there, you could stay there and they wouldn't tell you to leave. So we were like, okay, we're going to totally take advantage of that. 2 of the panels we want to see are pretty much back to back, and we'll just stay in there and have like the best seats possible. Well, the con didn't actually start until 10 or so, and so we got there like at least 2 hours early. We completely skipped breakfast because we wanted to get there. And so we were like, oh, crap. And we were just deciding, well, okay, should we leave and get some breakfast and come back? And we finally did. And then we went to the panel itself and just waited there when we finally did get back, because it was pushed, the first panel was of Arthur Darvill was pushed back about an hour. And, no one was there. It was really surprising.
We're waiting for Arthur Darvill's panel. It starts at noon, and it's like what?
It's like 10, 20 maybe?
10, 11 according to your phone.
Okay, 10, 11.
It's 10, 11 right now, so we're going to be waiting 2 hours. We're front row center.
Well, as center as we can be without being VIP, which is over there.
Yeah. But, hey. Early birds.
And I did get to ask him a question, basically asking of, since he died so often in the series of Doctor Who, did he ever get confused about what his character's timeline was, of like how was his character progressing and whatnot. And he was like, all the time. Because like, especially like after the Pandorica episode, is he still a robot by this time or whatnot? And like as he said that, because if he is still a machine, still made of plastic, his line would be read completely differently, and so it was interesting. Unfortunately, we didn't get that on camera. But we did get the next one on camera, which was Robert Englund.
The story of Freddy going from pure evil to sort of a wile E. coyote by the 5th one.
And he was a wile E. coyote in the 6th one. You're right. But Freddy always was funny. I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy. Bump. Cuts his fingers off, cracks wise, cuts Tina's face off, puts it on as a mask, and starts impersonating her in the door. Yeah, Freddy, sticks his tongue out of a phone. Freddy was funny in part 1. We perhaps went too far with it. I know we did in part 6, but it was intentional. We shot the movie in 3D, for God's sakes. We had Alice Cooper and Roseanne Barr in that movie, for God's sakes.
He was literally the Wicked Witch.
Yeah, literally the Wicked Witch. We were playing with the culture by then. We reined him back in. Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Creepy Freddy. And Freddy vs. Jason is its own mashup. You know, I look at Freddy and Jason almost like a graphic novel that was written somewhere between 84 and 2004 and got made into a movie. You know, Ronnie, you literally saw a Japanese comic where Jason was drawn like a giant. And that was in his head when he cast Ken Gerzinger instead of Kane Hodder when Ken came in for stunt coordinator, because he'd seen that and he wanted that graphic novel. Mutt and Jeff, you know, I'm a little junkyard dog, and Jason's almost like a giant, a monolith. So, and it was this mashup, and a very successful mashup. You know, it's interesting when you see great mashups, and you know, you can go, after they're made, you can go back and look at what the ingredients were. But like, who knew Guardians of the Galaxy was going to be as great as it was? I mean, I wasn't looking forward to that. They got it right. You know, when the mashups get it right, you know, it's really fun to watch them. Okay, next question.
And seriously, Robert Englund is a really cool guy. He really doesn't seem to care about how people perceive him, because he was just very free-flowing. He was shaking his butt a lot whenever he could or whatever. He seemed to be a very open kind of guy, and just like, you know, I'm just really glad I actually got to ask him a question too. It's the closest I'll probably get to meeting him for a while, you know, unless he comes back to another Comic-Con close to us that we can go to. But yeah, that was a really great panel too. And so about midday then, we were getting ready for the YouTube panel that's supposed to happen. I think it was about 3 o'clock that the YouTube panel was supposed to happen. And there was something kind of interesting about it, and that it was one of the few panels that wasn't in its own separate room. It was in the open, in the main convention center itself. And I just thought that was a really weird decision, because you have so many people making so much noise, and there's stuff over the intercom all of a sudden coming on, interrupting in the middle of when someone on the panel is talking. And it's just like, I have bad hearing as it is, so it was really hard for me to hear them. And there seemed to be a lot of technical issues too. Like at least 2 of the 3 mics that they were using, or maybe they were using 4, were really quiet. And one just flat out really wasn't working. So the YouTube panel consisted basically of 3 people, Melanie Mack, Andre Meadows, and Katie Wilson. And they gave a really good panel, a lot of good information, because the panel was basically like, how do you start up on YouTube and whatnot. And we made sure that we were, you know, front row for the panel, considering especially all the technical difficulties. You could see us right there. Finally, later on in the day, was the VIP meet and greet with Jason David Frank, which, as I already shown, I had the autograph. He wasn't actually doing autographs right there, which I do kind of find interesting, that at a meet and greet there's no autograph section. But I mean, that was a cool thing too. We also got front row. We got there as soon as we could, and we got into the very front row of the panel itself. And he's an interesting guy, to say the least. He's clearly passionate about what he does, what he believes, and he's as giving as he can be to his fans, and that's something as a fan from when he first started on Power Rangers till today really means a lot to me. That, you know, he's not just some bullheaded actor. Like, he really appreciates, he understands that if it wasn't for people like me, my wife, and every single, you know, one of his fans, that he wouldn't be where he is today. And it just really showed in how he talks, because if you've ever seen any of his uploads on his Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, any of that. And you think how much of a dork he is. He is just as dorky in person, and it's awesome. Basically, the way the meet and greet started, they said that light refreshments would be given out, and and man, what did they mean light? It was a bunch of donuts, really small sodas, and that's about it. You just we grabbed some donuts and some sodas and just drank as we waited for him to come in. They first started off with just taking pictures with everyone, because everyone gets at least one picture on your own personal camera, be it cell phone or whatever. And they just did in a line. It was a surprising amount of people. I really can't believe how many people you can get tickets for a meet and greet. I really thought it would be more intimate, like just a few dozen. This was more like a couple dozen. So, but it was nice to be around so many like-minded people that enjoyed what he does too. After that, we really didn't have much else to do, so we just kind of walked around the con itself again, seeing what else was for sale. I was actually kind of surprised there really wasn't anyone selling video games or anything like that, because I know it's a comic con, so that, there should be a lot of comic stuff, but there was more than just comics. There was a lot of TV stuff too, and out of everything that I found, there was one rack of games that someone was selling. It was like on a spindle, and they were all really crappy shovelware games, or games that no one cared about on Xbox, Wii, and GameCube. And that was it. And it was like, why did you even bring them then? I don't think that guy sold a single thing. So overall, we actually really didn't buy anything too much. We really didn't have the money to. But something I've been really wanting is art, video game art specifically. And there was quite a number of artists, and really good artists too, people who work in the comic book industry and whatnot. And there was one guy that I found, his art was just, it really drew me to it because it was Metal Gear, and I'm a big Metal Gear fanboy. And it was of Snake and Gray Fox, and I was like, wow, I gotta have that. I love the way it's stylized, and there's actually room there so that if I ever meet David Hayter or Rob Paulson, who did the voice for Gray Fox in the Twin Snakes version of Metal Gear Solid 1, there's really good spots to have them put their autographs on. And he also had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game shot. I don't know how to describe it. You can see it in the photo of us with the Evil Dead guys, who also came to Wizard World, where it's basically it's you got the 16-bit top of the character select screen, but then all the actual turtles themselves were comic book style drawn, and it looks amazing. It was like, oh my god, I gotta have that. One of my favorite games from one of my favorite entertainment properties. It was like, it's just awesome. I still haven't gotten a frame for it yet, but yeah, it's just, I had to get it. It was a good deal too. It was something like $20 for all three of them, $20 or $30. But of course the frames cost me more later. But yeah, overall that was our experience at the Wizard World Comic Con. If you ever get a chance to go to a Comic Con, specifically Wizard World, go. Just go. It was really quite an amazing experience. It's just the fact that there was one time where Katie was in a panel for James Marsters, and I was just walking around, and David Morrissey walks by. He was going to his autograph booth, and I was like, "It's David Morrissey, the governor." I was like, that just doesn't happen to me, And then it was just really cool, seeing that they were all just walking around and talking, and it was just a really fun experience, basically. Thanks for watching me ramble. If you want to see more of my videos, click the links here and be sure to subscribe for more. Special thanks to Katie Wilson for letting me use her footage.